Good evening and welcome to Minembwe Capital News. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, 2026, and we bring you exclusive, reliable, and widely discussed updates from eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Welcome once again, dear viewers of Minembwe Capital News. In today's broadcast, we bring you a complete overview of the situation in South Kivu province, particularly in the areas of Fizi, Baraka, Minembwe, and Mwenga. In today's edition, we focus on major developments, including ongoing clashes that continue to reshape the dynamic of the conflict, the security situation of the civilians, military operations, international diplomacy, and in-depth analysis of the evolving situation in the eastern Congo. This information is based on reliable sources from the front lines, local civilians, and close observers of the situation in the region. We encourage you to follow this broadcast until the end as it continues to give you the detailed and important updates. On our first point is about the situation in Baraka and Fizi territory. Starting from Baraka town in Fizi territory, reports indicated that the areas remain under a heavy atmosphere of insecurity. Although some sources claim it is still under the control of FARDC and its allied forces. These forces include FARDC, the Burundian Army, Wazalendo groups, and FDLR elements are said to still maintain positions in the town. However, continued movements and sporadic clashes are being reported in surrounding areas. According to local sources, soldiers have been seen moving through the town at different times, creating fear and uncertainty among the civilian population regarding the future security situation. On the other hand, reports indicate that MRDP Piraneho, in alliance with AFC/M23, continues to expand its presence in the highlands of Minembwe, further changing the overall dynamic of the conflicts. These are also reports of shifting front lines in the area near Baraka, where FARDC and its allies are said to have abandoned some positions, including Rusuku, Murima, and surrounding locations. On the second point, reports indicate that FARDC military leadership has decided to suspend telephone communication services in certain parts of Fizi territory. These affected areas include Baraka, Bibogobogo, Rusuku, and surrounding localities where communication networks have reportedly been cut. The decision is said to be aimed at limiting the spread of battlefield information, especially following intense clashes in areas such as Brisankuku and Point Zero. However, this decision has sparked significant controversy, particularly among civilians who say the lack of communication is severely affecting their day-to-day life. There are also concerns that the communication blackout may negatively impact the humanitarian operations and access to critical security information. On social media, videos continue to circulate showing a FARDC soldier speaking in an emotional and distressed tone, appealing directly to the authorities in Kinshasa. In those videos, the soldier claims that troops on the ground are facing serious shortage of equipments, foods, and adequate operation support. He further states that the opposing coalition, consisting of AFC/M23 and MRDP Twirwaneho, is equipped with advanced military technology, including drones, making the fighting extremely difficult on their side. These videos have sparked widespread debates among political observers and analysts, with many suggesting that they highlighting the deeper structure and logical challenge within the armed forces. On the third point about diplomacy, in diplomatic developments, talks continues in Bujumbura, Burundi, aimed at finding solution to the ongoing security in the eastern Congo. These discussions bring together political leaders, religious representatives, and delegates from international organizations. Some observers view these talks as a positive steps towards peace, while others argue that they remain political driven and do not fully reflect the realities on the ground. A major concern remains the absence of direct participation from the armed groups involved in the conflict, raising questions about the inclusiveness and effectiveness of the process. On the fourth point, the AFC/M23 movement continues to state that it does not intend to withdraw from Congolese territory, insisting that the local populations have full rights to their country. They argue that the Congo crisis cannot be resolved by excluding certain communities, but rather through equal rights for all Congolese citizens. These statements continue to generate strong political and security debates across the Great Lakes regions. On the fifth story, a report from the UN experts or United Nations experts group indicates that clashes in Minembwe and surrounding areas intensified significantly between 2025 and 2026. The report states that civilians have been severely affected, including mass displacement, food shortage, and blockade of certain localities. However, the UN also notes that there is insufficient evidence to confirm a deliberate and systematic campaign targeting the civilians. On to the sixth point, reports from the front line indicate that MRDP Twirwaneho, in alliance with AFC/M23, has taken control of the Murima area, which had long been considered a key government military positions. This area is strategically important as it lies along the route connecting Uvira, Baraka, and Minembwe. However, conflicting information suggests that control of the area remains fluid, with reports of temporary withdrawals and continuous movements by FARDC towards Baraka. In-depth analysis. Recent development in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly in Fizi, Baraka, Minembwe, and Mwenga, a complex and rapid evolving security picture emerges. On the key feature is the continuous shifting of territorial control between opposing forces. Reports indicated that several areas have changed hands multiple times, reflecting the fluid nature of the conflict in the area. This situation creates significant confusion among civilians and observers, as the information often varies depending on the source and the communication environment onto the ground. Another major factor is the expansion of fighting into mountainous terrain, especially in Fizi and surrounding region. These areas are difficult to access and monitor, making military operations less visible and increasingly complex. This shift has serious humanitarian consequences, including large-scale displacement, disruption of livelihood, food shortage, and delays in humanitarian assistance. Communication restriction in some areas further complicate the situation. While such measures are reportedly intended to control battlefield information, they also hinder civilian communication and humanitarian coordination. As a result, conflicting reports continue to circulate, making it difficult to establish a clear and consistent understanding of the situation. Additionally, there are growing concerns about difference in military capabilities, with reports indicating the use of advanced technology such as drones, which may influence battlefield dynamics. From a civilian perspective, the conflict continues to have several consequences, including displacement, insecurity, disruption of economic activities, and limited access to essential services. At the point of political level, ongoing debates focus on the inclusiveness and peace negotiations, particularly the absence of armed groups from the formal discussion. In conclusion, the security in Eastern Congo remains highly complex and volatile, shaped by ongoing conflicts, diplomatic efforts, and shifting military dynamics. Minembwe Capital News will continue to provide you with the accurate, timely, and professional updates as the situation evolves. Thank you for watching and following us. This is Mugwaneza Melsi from Minembwe Capital News. Thank you.